Why did Dazzler bring a ladder to the disco? To reach the high notes. Today's Comic Book Editions Volume 229 video is going to be an arm workout day today. I say that because I'm going to be showing a lot of omnibuses and hardcovers, and I'm glad that you're going to be here for the video. Welcome. I left you a little bit of a cliffhanger on last week's Comic Book Editions Volume 228 video by talking about an omnibus that was gifted to me from my friend Brian and his twin brother Michael. That omnibus was this one. I'm going to admit to you, I wasn't really that shocked. The last 2 years, Brian and Michael, who are twin brothers that both collect, have gifted me omnibuses. You saw in Comic Book Editions Volume 130, the Who's Who in the DC Universe omnibus that they gifted me a couple Christmases ago. And then last Christmas, they gifted me the Volume 2 of the DC's Who's Who omnibus. And they know that I love the omnibuses, and Brian's becoming an omnibus collector himself. So we were having a conversation back in, I think it was either October or November, because this originally came out in October. It was shortly after this came out, and Brian said that he had bought a copy for himself. I told him how I was interested in this, but financially was trying to talk myself out of it because I really had all of the contents inside. But then I watched a YouTube video that showed an unboxing of this, and I saw the interiors, and I started really falling in love with wanting to get this. And shortly after that, I got a text from Brian one day, and he said, "Just ordered your Christmas present. It's dazzling, and I hope that you'll like it." I should also add that Brian had asked me in that phone conversation which cover I would choose for myself. The Artgerm cover, which I love, or the cover that's a little bit more traditional to the Volume 1 comic book, which is the direct market. And this is the one I ended up with, but to be honest with you, I would have been good with getting either cover. One thing that I do like is when the covers really showcase what's inside of the book. I think that that's important, and I like that being represented, although, like I said, that Artgerm cover was pretty freaking fantastic. I'm not going to lie about that. So this Dazzler Omnibus is probably the only Dazzler Omnibus we're ever going to get from Marvel. I wouldn't call it complete, but it's pretty close to what you would want as a Dazzler fan. There's 1,360 pages of goodness inside. I can't wait to crack this thing open. So it has Dazzler's first two appearances in X-Men 130 and 131. It has an Amazing Spider-Man appearance that she made. It has all of the issues from her Volume 1 run. It has the Marvel graphic novel Dazzler the movie. It has the 4-issue miniseries Beauty and the Beast with Dazzler and Hank McCoy the Beast. It has a Secret Wars issue. It has a What If tie-in. So, like I said, not a complete Dazzler appearance omnibus, but that's okay. Like Dazzler's third appearance, she was just in a couple pages of a Fantastic Four issue, kind of when Johnny Storm had the hots, see what I did there, for Allison Blair. And the only thing that I would say that I'm a little surprised that isn't in here, there's a Marvel team-up with Spider-Man and Dazzler that's not in here. And then there's an appearance that she made in an X-Men issue along with Spider-Woman, kind of in an all-female issue. And that's not in here as well. But the rest of it is here. It is fantastic. As I said, I have all of the books, but having them all put together in one collection, I really love the idea of that. I am beyond thrilled to have this into my collection. At one time, I was kind of thinking, financially, I figured I could either get the Dazzler Omnibus or I could get the DC versus Marvel Omnibus. And I ended up getting neither, but now I have the Dazzler one in my collection. But since I ended up getting that first Superman versus Spider-Man trade paperback, Treasury, I should say, which I showed back in Comic Book Editions Volume 226, I believe it was, which was the beginning of me showing my Christmas haul of 2024 to you. And this one kind of completes the Christmas 2024 haul in today's video. But once I got that treasure, I kind of said, yeah, I don't know necessarily if I need the omnibus or not of that. Love my Dazzler. Don't expect this thing to stay in print for a huge long time. I expect it probably to be the only Dazzler Omnibus that we'll ever get. And there's not really a whole lot of other material to collect to put into something, especially this massive and thick. I think that they did a pretty good job of what they included in here and putting this out to the public. So thank you to my friends Brian and my friend Michael, his twin brother, for thinking of me again today. And haven't seen Michael in a while, but I've seen Brian and had the chance to spend some time with him. You might remember last week in the comic book editions video, I was showing some stuff that he had gifted to me. So if you didn't catch that, make sure to look for that after today's video wraps up. But Christmas 2024 completed with this Dazzler Omnibus now in the collection. Yes. Disco baby. I said I've got more omnibuses to show for you today, and we're going to continue. This is one that I picked up for myself during a Christmas sale. So I've had this for a couple months. Just I was kind of hoping I could do an all omnibus edition or a huge omnibus edition of a comic book editions video sometime, which is what we're doing today. So here we have Wonder Woman, the Silver Age Omnibus, volume number 2. This was released in October of 2023. It collects Wonder Woman's issues. What do we have in here? I think it's 125 through 124 through 149, excuse me, 124 through 149. I have all of the individual floppies that are collected in here, just as I had all the individual issues that were collected in the first Wonder Woman Silver Age. There's something, I'm just an omnibus fan. I've already admitted that even today in the video, but there's something about having them collected all together in a hardback that I really like. And some of these have been digitally restored and colored, and they look really sharp as well. I know they're on the DC app too, but you get to hold, with the omnibus, you actually get to hold it. There's 704 pages here, which compared to the Dazzler Omnibus, it's almost half size. And I remember when these felt like a big, massive book, but now that you got those huge omnibuses like the Dazzler one I just showed, the 1,000+ page ones, these seem relatively small, which is funny because I always thought that these were so huge. They need to release one more Silver Age Wonder Woman Omnibus to complete the Silver Age. So if they do another one, it would start with Wonder Woman 150, and it would go up through probably 168, because they've already collected 169 through 204, which is the mod era Diana Prince years. That's already been collected, and that essentially wraps up the Silver Age and kicks off the Bronze Age. So one more of this, and it is complete. DC sometimes doesn't, they start projects and they don't like to finish it. And I hope that's not going to be the case with this when they're just one away from completing this. The Bronze Age is my dream of getting that collected together in an omnibus form. And I would pre-order that the moment that I heard that something like that was being released. I do want to thank my friend Steve of DC Superstar Steve from Instagram. And I'll leave a link for his Instagram page in the description for this video. He told me recently about a volume 1 that's going to be collected in softcover format, a World's Finest Wonder Woman that collects a few years before the end of volume 1, before the Crisis reboot and volume 2 started. It's going to be collected in a July 1st release. And it has the Legend of Wonder Woman miniseries, and it has about the last 20-some issues of volume 1. So maybe they'd start thinking about an omnibus for that. I know that DC seems to be leaning a little bit more towards this DC's Finest line, which is softcover, but I hope they don't give up on the omnibus format. Definitely don't want that to happen. Speaking of my friend Steve, I want to talk about him later in today's video too, because he gave me some other news too that helped me out collecting wise. So we'll circle back to him in just a little bit. But here's a fun omnibus with the Impossible Tales, because here we have full-grown Wonder Woman with herself as a teenager, with herself as a toddler, and Queen Hippolyta, and what they called Impossible Tales. Here's one that's out of print. Recently, JP Budget Collecting and John's Comics with Kids and I did a Wonder Woman by George Perez Volume 1 review of the omnibus, and we all loved it. It was their first time reading the George Perez Wonder Woman, and I just wanted to reread it, and I was excited because they were reading it for the first time. There are actually 3 volumes of the George Perez Wonder Woman. Volume 2 and Volume 3 are out of print, and they've been long out of print. At this point, George Perez is doing the covers, and he's the writer of the series, but he's not doing the interior art, which leaves me little hope that these will actually come back into print. This was originally released in 2015, and it collects Wonder Woman Volume 2 issues 25 through 45, plus annual number 2. So John, JP, and I will get back together sometime in the future, and we'll read this, and we'll do another live stream talking about our thoughts on Volume 2 of the Omnibus. I'm really looking forward to diving back in and rereading some of these stories because it's been a minute or so since I've enjoyed it. Volume 3 of this omnibus is going to be incredibly hard for all of us to get because not only is it long out of print and I don't see it coming back into print, it is expensive when you can find it. We're talking, on the very few copies that you find online, people are asking, $300+ for it. It's that expensive. And I don't want to shell that out when I have all the individual issues. And this one I really feel lucky price-wise because even with shipping, and this is factory sealed, I ended up getting this for less than the original MSR on it. So less than the original cover price, I ended up getting this. It just was being at the right place at the right time. I had been looking at a different copy of this omnibus, and for whatever reason, I didn't pull the trigger, and a couple of days later, this one came up, and I snatched it up as soon as I saw it. It didn't take long for me to say, yep, that one's going to be mine, and it did become mine. So here we're dealing with just a great period of Wonder Woman stories here. And I don't have the exact page count on this, but if I had to guess, it's probably around 550 to 600 page omnibus or so, which was kind of like Volume 1. Wonder Woman had a new omnibus release just a couple weeks ago, and it is Wonder Woman, The Golden Age, Volume number 6. Last time in Comic Book Editions Volume 173, you saw where I added Volume 5 into my collection. Volume 6 is finally here, 704 pages. What surprised me instantly is all the solicitation pictures for this omnibus had a different cover art on it. And there isn't like there's a variant cover. There was a cover art with a bird that was snatching the tiara from Wonder Woman, which is just what I assumed was going to be the cover art for it. Every place I've looked online, I saw that cover art. I'll even pop that cover art up on the screen so you can see what it originally looked like. But this is the one and only version of the omnibus, and they changed art, pulling instead the cover from Wonder Woman Volume 1, issue number 49. I have 3 of the different stories in floppy form in my original collection that are included in this omnibus. So we are collecting in this omnibus the last issues of Wonder Woman's appearance in Sensation Comics, which I think is Sensation Comics 105 and 106. And then we have some Wonder Woman comic books. I'm not seeing the exact issue numbers. 105 and 106 of Sensation and Wonder Woman 48 through 71 are collected inside of here. So if DC does another volume of Golden Age Wonder Woman Omnibus, which would be volume number 7, that would complete the entire Golden Age, all collected in the omnibus format. Like I said just previously, DC has a habit of not finishing things that they start. I really desperately need them to do that. A lot of the stories that are in this book and a lot of stories that would be in a volume 7 if it gets announced have never been reprinted before. This time we have 704 delicious pages of Wonder Woman goodness in here, and just fingers crossed. Every day I've been starting to check to see if they've done an announcement for the next volume. And this book took long enough to get here. There was a huge amount of time in between the release of Volume 5 and Volume 6. And for one brief period, Volume 6 was announced, and then they said they canceled the original release date on it, which had me worried that they were going to just end up canceling it completely. But they resolicited it, and it ended up coming out last month, as I said. So I had pre-ordered this last year because I didn't want to take any chances. And I got a nice, good price on this too. So very, very happy that DC did release this. Just need them to do one more volume of Golden Age, one more volume of Silver Age, and then start into that Bronze Age to really make your boy happy. Ollie's is in my area. Discount bargain store. They've known to have comic books and comic book related items. I showed you last week a book that my friend Brian got me, a Wonder Woman hardcover that he got for me at Ollie's. When I was back at Ollie's, I found a little smaller book, Be More Wonder Woman. It is Fearless Thinking from a Warrior Princess. It's kind of like a little inspirational book. And I thought that was pretty cool too. So I ended up picking one of these up. My friend's son actually found it in a different section of the book part of Ollie's that I hadn't seen. And he said, "Hey, Ryan, have you seen this?" And I'm like, "No, I hadn't seen that." So I was stoked that he found it for me, and I was able to pick one up and add it into my collection. I don't really remember this being solicited. So somewhere I totally missed the boat on this one, even coming out into print for the first time. Or if I did know about it, I definitely forgot about it. But it's great to have it in my collection because I'll just cover out the word B and more Wonder Woman for my collection. Yeah, more Wonder Woman. That's what I need. So, yes. Another Ollie's pickup for me. This hardcover is an Absolute. Let's just show it. So it's the Absolute Justice League Origins. Originally, when this book came out, which I think, if I'm remembering correctly, was like 2019, it had a $99.99 price tag. So $100 for this book was the original MSR on it. I saw this at Ollie's, and I'm starting to go to Ollie's now at least twice a week because I've noticed not a huge change in the comic book section, but I'll see one or two titles that are different or new each time I go in. And I saw this and I was interested in it for sure because I've read a little bit. This is the Jim Lee era of Justice League, and I've read a little bit of it, but it collects the first 12 issues and I think maybe a 0 issue as well in here. And it's got some extras too. I like it that it's in the big, larger format. But to get back to what I was going to say, and I wish, what I'm going to say is the truth. I wish all of the Ollie's experiences was like this. $100 MSR. When I saw it at Ollie's, I pulled it up on Amazon to see how much Amazon was asking for it. $47.02 at that moment is what they were asking for this exact same thing sealed. I bought this for less price than I bought a candy bar for. That's how good of a deal it was. I could not leave that there. And the next time I went back, just a couple days later, I noticed they were all gone. They had maybe 10 of them or so out, and they were gone the next time I came back. So I scooped it up fast, which is the right thing to do. Scoop it up, and if you decide later you don't want it, you got that 30-day return policy to come back and take care of it. So this will be fun to open up and enjoy. You know, usually I like a little bit more vintage stuff for my comic books, but I'm going to get my money's worth out of this without a doubt. Good pickup. So circling back, I was talking about my friend Steve from Instagram. He doesn't have a YouTube channel, but Steve is awesome. He is a great friend. I love talking to him. We like so many of the same characters and the same things. So it's always a fun and easy conversation with Steve. Steve did me a huge solid a while back by telling me about this next issue of a comic book. And it's Power Girl. It's issue number 12. This is the Superpowers variant. And what Steve told me, because I didn't know, the last creative team of Wonder Woman, which included Michael Conrad and Becky Cloonan, introduced a character called Siegfried, or Siggy for short. And when their run ended and Tom King rebooted the title, Siggy has been nowhere to be found. Steve let me know that Siggy made an appearance in this issue because Power Girl is dating Siggy's cousin. And in this issue, he takes her back to Asgard, the DC version of Asgard, and Siggy is there. And it was so great to see this character again that I love so much. So thank you, Steve, for making sure that I was aware of this, because I didn't. It also gave me an excuse to get this cover because I love these covers that look like old carded, never-made superpower action figures from the 1980s. These are so well done. Very cool covers. Thought the story was pretty good too. I had read the first issue from the Power Girl, from this version, this relaunch of Power Girl, this volume, a while ago, and the first issue didn't shake me a whole lot, but this one was a lot better. So I might jump on the app and see what I've been missing out when it comes to this title. And there's one more thing I want to show in today's comic book editions video. And this ties in actually with these superpower themed covers. I had pre-ordered the Donna Troy Teen Titans cover with her in the red jumpsuit because that red jumpsuit is my jam. And when I got my order in, they had pulled a different comic book instead. Let me show it. This is what they sent me instead. And yes, initially I was disappointed. I didn't say anything to them because I kind of like this cover anyway. So it's not like I got it for free. I mean, I paid for it. I just got the wrong comic book than what I paid for. This is Superman number 17. This is the Power Action Flying Leap Gold Superpowers variant cover. Didn't they actually end up making this into a figure? I think that they actually did. But the comic book, I think, was created first, and then they actually did make this, like McFarlane ended up making this into a real figure. I think that's correct. But I read the story anyway because it was here, and I ended up really liking the story a lot. And I had a couple other issues, like the issue before and the issue after of Superman, which I bought for different various cover reasons. Like one had the Nicola Scott cover with the Superman throughout all the different decades, or the legacy covers, they might call them. And I was so glad that I ended up getting this, even though I didn't actually order this. I still have to pick up the Teen Titans Wonder Girl Donna Troy red jumpsuit variant in the Superpowers costume, but I'll do that, and I'm not worried about being able to find that. It was something I didn't know I wanted until I ended up getting it, and I was very happy in the long run. That wraps up my Comic Book Editions Volume 229 video today. What did you think about the stuff that I showed? We can dialogue about all of this and more in the comments section below, as your comments are welcomed, encouraged, and appreciated. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, it's a great way to show support and help get me to the 1K mark, which is my ultimate goal. Sharing this channel and this video with someone that you think might enjoy it's another great way to show support. The algorithm loves it when you give it a heart, a thumbs up, a like, and I love reading those comments, which I just asked for a few moments ago. I have my back issue of the week YouTube short all month long. I am doing for International Women's History Month, the month of March, I'm doing female characters from my comic book collection. This is the 4th consecutive month of March that I've done that in my back issue of the week YouTube shorts. And the short that dropped yesterday morning is on Firestar, who maybe you just know from Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends cartoon, or maybe you don't know this mutant character at all. But I talk about a comic book of hers in the back issue of the week YouTube short, which is currently on my channel. And we'll do a DC hero for next week's back issue of the week, and I'll give you a little hint, at least of what I have planned for next week. Meow. Did I give you a little hint? I know I should drop it on Saturday. Fanboys Live and the Retro Review had such a great show this past weekend with Metarog as a special guest. Always love spending time with Roger. Always love spending time with Signature King and Silver-Haired Bronze Age Babe. But Fanboys Live and the Retro Review, the greatest DC Comics show on YouTube, comes up Sunday night, 8:15 p.m. Eastern, 7:15 p.m. Central, here on my YouTube channel, so I'll see you for that this upcoming weekend. Lots of future stuff lined up for these comic book editions videos, so catch me for the next one, CBA Volume 230 soon. Until then, be well, safe, happy, and healthy, and we'll see ya. Take care.